We made it. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, wherever you are in the world. Good day. How's everyone doing today? 7 o'clock on the dot. You know, we're in our drop tops, cruising the streets. Bum, 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 bum. You know, just getting ready for a little bit more horizons today. But again, on time, every time. We're never going to miss it. Lucky number 7 in extra early with the raid. I appreciate that. Welcome, everyone, from Lucky number 7's channel. Come on in. Come relax. We're going to be learning a little bit more about infrastructure as code today in Horizons. Today with Cloudformation instead of Terraform, which I'm going to be honest, it's going to be again, it's going to be fun. Infrastructure as code is fun, but after you got a little taste of Terraform, tonight is probably going to be a little bit confusing, to be 100% honest. The concepts are the same. The implementation of it is different, and that is why I do not love Cloudformation. But again, I'm sorry for poisoning the well a little bit. You may love Cloudformation, but it's gonna be a good night. We're gonna keep it real chill. I like to give you guys where this is gonna like reside and what we're kind of learning. So Cloudformation is an important service inside AWS, and we'll get there as well. But again, tonight is more of just a lab to get your hands on it, to see how practically people are using these things out in the world. They will not ask you, they might ask you what Cloudformation is on the Cloud Practitioner exam, but they will not ask you any really in-depth questions. On the developer exam, they might ask you a few in-depth questions actually. About some of the features of Cloudformation, I think, as well as on the SysOps exam, but I don't think they'll ask you any like super in-depth things about it on the Solutions Architect. I don't remember any, but I haven't checked it in a while. But yeah, so we're gonna be learning about that tonight. So everyone from Lucky number 7, good to see you. Welcome. Imgene, oh, he's just a pro at being first. How you doing tonight? What's up, Diarrhea? What's up, YGBSM? What's up, TD Roque? Or is it T Dr. Oque? Or is it T Droke? One of those is for sure to be correct. But welcome, thank you so much. Alejo 47, good to see you. What's up, Greatest Rob? How you doing? And I'm gonna get everything pulled up now. Also, today, I'm gonna be doing my post tonight. I'm gonna be doing my posts when I actually do it. I'm gonna spend some time this evening, but we started today is the first real day of 100 days of code. If you're part of Decoded, or 100 days of Cloud, if you're part of this, feel free to do whatever you want. This counts as a part of your time. Yeah, we're just gonna try to do 100 days of getting better or something. So just a reminder to anyone who may have forgotten, we are going to be doing some of that. You know, you should participate. I'm gonna participate tonight. What's up, IJB? That boy. What's up? Let me get logged in. Let me get you the link. Whoops, wrong way. Sign into a different account. That's what I want to do. And let's get over to Academy and head over to our drive. We don't have any slides tonight at all, because maybe we'll actually go back and cover infrastructure as code just a little bit more. Talk about what we talked about last time, just to kind of get a little refresher. I think that's a good idea, actually. Where's 11.2? Let's go into 11.2. Real quick, we're gonna breeze through this real fast. We'll give people a few minutes to get in. We will these are not the slides for tonight. The slides for tonight we'll get to in a second, but I do want to just cover this stuff again because the concept is important. I've got my water chalice today instead of my bottle from medieval times. Dinner and a tournament. What a great place. Can't wait till one day to get back in there. Always exciting. My night never wins, literally never. I've never had a night win, and I've been lots of times. So I'm hoping that one day, we can get a win. What do I think of Pulumi? This is a great question. We'll talk about this now, and then we'll revisit this a little bit later on, because we are going to talk about the the CDK tonight, the cloud development kit that Amazon has, which is similar to Pulumi. I think that Pulumi is cool. I like Pulumi, actually. I've used it a bit. I was introduced to them first a few years ago at I'm trying to remember what conference it was at, but met them at a conference, met some people there. They walked me through a demo, and I thought it was pretty cool, to be 100% honest. I think that what Pulumi has done will permeate through the industry as the roles of an engineer get a little more blurred. Like it is the perfect way for software engineers to approach deploying infrastructure. I think something like Terraform and the HCL, you know, that domain specific language that Terraform created, and as the same way that the configuration management tools have created their own domain specific language, I think it's a little bit easier to digest for people who have traditionally dealt with the infrastructure and aren't, you know, don't have software backgrounds. But yeah, so it's like Terraform, but you can use loops and stuff. You know, Terraform has loops as well. Terraform has for each loops in it. Terraform allows you to loop through data and things like that as well. So they're providing some of that functionality. But I do like it. I like it. And again, I think the paradigm that Pulumi is represented, I don't think that people were quite ready for it, but I think that as we get a little farther along, how amazing would it be if your whole application was JavaScript, but your infrastructure was as well, and not in some different thing. It allows, again, someone who has a skill set to be able to do the full scope of the work. But no, I think it's cool. I definitely think it's cool. I think what are they at? I think they released either their official version 1 or V2 recently. Pulumi. I always like their logo. 2.0. Yep. 2.0 is out. It's interesting. Yeah, so you can use Pulumi is like Terraform and is like Cloudformation. It's a way for you to provision infrastructure, but you actually do it using common coding languages that we know about. So they have Python, looks like JavaScript, TypeScript. When TypeScript is JavaScript, I forgot what the other one was. It looks like you can use .NET as well, and Go. Oh, well, now that I know that you can use Go, then maybe this is something we will try to do some stuff with. Because I'm open to it for sure. I'm definitely open to checking it out for sure. That's cool. But yeah, that's my feelings on it. I've never done anything professional with it. I haven't really heard of people using it professionally, but I have heard of some interesting adoption of it, you know, for local projects and things. But maybe I'll use it during this time to do some dope stuff during my 100 days of code challenge. All right, so let's get started. Let's get through as fast as possible, you know, get some of our time back. Tonight won't take hopefully won't take as long, just because we have already covered the underlying stuff. So last time we covered infrastructure as code and what all of it meant, and then we went into the example, and we actually went through an example of Elastic Beanstalk as well as Terraform last time. Tonight we're just doing CloudFormation. So I think we'll be, you know, I think tonight will be light, so we can take our time, ask as many questions as you want, be as confused as you like, because we have some time to get it on in. But just covering infrastructure as code again. Infrastructure as code, repeatable, reliable, consistent. We just talked about the infrastructure as code is a way to declare the state of your infrastructure in a file. The state in these machine readable definition files that we can then deploy, and it'll, you know, the computer or the tool will read those files and do what we want them to do. We said that it, you know, stops configuration drift, that it creates a repeatable, reliable, consistent way for you to deploy infrastructure needs. Free documentation, it's fast, and again, it's a way to automate that stuff. We're talking about the pillars, just the kind of different aspects of infrastructure as code as I see it. So infrastructure provisioning is one, so that's things like Terraform, and what we're going to learn tonight, CloudFormation, and it's actually building out the web assets that you care about. Server configuration management, software configuration management is once you provision those resources, this is another tool on top of it to set those resources up in the way that you would like them. And then scripting is just another way you can practice infrastructure as code. And we talked about those and just some of the tools. Remember, Pulumi was on here. Someone asked about Pulumi, so we just talked about that a little bit. So there are a number of options to do exactly what we're trying to do. And again, tonight we are focusing strictly on, this is an AWS cloud course. We are focusing on Amazon's product to allow us to be able to do this. And that's it. Just the quickest, that was the quickest infrastructure as code walkthrough that we could ever do. Really nice. And maybe let's also just take a look at the Terraform code that we wrote last time, just to kind of see what that looks like. Hey, Imgene, thank you so much for gifting a sub. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the love. Pawn Muncher. Got it. You know, the U, I think I did the same thing last time, you know. Capitalization really shifts your mind's focus into what you see. But please thank Imgene for the love and the support. Amazing. Back up to live. Excellent, Jess Machine. That's awesome. I'm glad you are all caught up. But let's take a look at what we did last time real fast. Go into our documents. What do we have here? We had mastermind and then horizons. And then we had learn Terraform AWS. Whoa. Okay, and why am I hitting the wrong key? And then we wrote this example.tf file, and just taking a look at it, this was all the code that we needed to spin up an EC2 instance, and we spun up a nice EC2 instance called Terraform Web Server, and this is all the code that was needed. So we declared what we wanted in a machine readable file, this .tf file, and we used the language that we used here was HCL, which is HashiCorp language. That's what you need when you're writing Terraform, and tonight is going to be a bit different. So I want you to keep in mind what this looks like, and we'll revisit this, but I want you to keep in mind what this looks like. If this is confusing to you, that's okay, but I promise you to appreciate this as we get a little farther along tonight. You're gonna say, oh, this is beautiful, this beautiful code right here, even though I don't know what it says. Okay, let's hop into our slides for that evening. Tonight, Cloudformation, really simple, just like 4 or 5 slides for this. Not that Cloudformation only takes 4 or 5 slides to explain. Learning Cloudformation is actually a pretty in-depth process. To be 100% honest, I've been using Cloudformation for a little over 4 years, and I know that I can get anything done that I need to get done in Cloudformation, but I would not say that I'm very good at Cloudformation. I would say more so that I'm pretty good at configuring infrastructure in code rather than me being good at Cloudformation. No one's really good at Cloudformation, to be 100% honest with you, but Cloudformation, formate to the cloud, that is not proper English. I don't even know if formate is a real word, but if you're going to be using Cloudformation, you are obviously going to be formationing the cloud. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So what is CF? And you'll see it referred to as CF sometimes, but Cloudformation. AWS Cloudformation is a service that gives developers and businesses an easy way to create a collection of related AWS and third-party resources and provision them in an orderly, predictable fashion. So this is the business problem that it solves. So we've already talked about what infrastructure as code solves. So we kind of already can abstract that this is going to be that. We can define some code, some machine readable code, and it will give us some resources. But again, it's for developers and businesses to use to create an easy way to create a collection. That's something we didn't talk about with Terraform, and you can do this with Terraform as well. But that one file that we wrote didn't have to just be to create one AWS resource. We could use it to create all kinds of resources, a collection of resources that we could use to manage in an orderly and predictable fashion. So although I don't love Cloudformation, it does do exactly what it says it's going to do. It does exactly that, orderly and predictable, mostly predictable fashion. And these hands are supposed to be formatting the clouds, even though they are, somebody's either falling or flying, either one. But I imagine they're doing stuff with their mind and their hands, and they're making the clouds do stuff. And that's what we're going to be doing with Cloudformation today. Now, I said I was going to dive into this a bit yesterday or last class, but real quick, I want to cover imperative versus declarative. And this is a little more of a programming paradigm, but since we're talking about infrastructure as code, things fall into one of these paradigms. Generally, these are used to describe programming languages. And so imperative or declarative? Declarative is actually, let's do imperative first. I probably should have put imperative first, but imperative, so that's the one at the bottom, is it's programming Imperative programming is a programming paradigm that uses statements that change the program's state. So imperative is almost synonymous with maybe this is when you go line by line. This is this is kind of when you go line by line. So imperative is when you use statements in order, like issuing commands to change the state. So you issue a command that does something, and then that gets it into a certain state, and you issue another command. It's kind of like some of the scripts that we've written. If we want to update something first, and then next we add something, and then next we install something, that is imperative. That is telling the computer exactly how to get from one state to another. And so some scripting is usually like this, and some tools are like this. Some tools work in an imperative fashion, but a lot more of these configuration management tools, a lot more of these infrastructure provisioners work in a declarative fashion, or a declarative paradigm. So declarative programming is a programming paradigm that expresses logic. It expresses the logic of computation without describing how to control its flow. So if imperative shows you the steps to get from one state to another using these commands to change the state, in order, declarative says, hey, I'm going to declare the state that I want this to be in, and how you get there is up to you, and I don't really care about it. And so Terraform actually works that way, and so does Cloudformation. We declare what we want. If we do things in a weird order, the tool is smart enough to know what to do. And so we don't need to do things in order in Cloudformation. We don't need to do things in order in Terraform. To an extent, there's some ordering that may need to happen, but for the most part, the things that are written in the file, it'll read those things, and it'll determine, it's smart enough to determine what needs to happen first, what needs to happen second, what order these things need to happen in to get to the end goal. So that's just imperative versus declarative, and maybe we'll kind of get there. I'll show you an example of that when we're spinning up some of this Cloudformation. Any questions about that first, imperative versus declarative, or any questions that maybe are lingering about infrastructure as code as a whole that we covered last time that we are not talking about this time? That's right, Aya, how you doing? Into the cloud we go. Robots, I command you. This is exactly what it is. This is exactly what we do every day. Robot, I command you. Any declarative also imperative? Just you don't have to do it because it's done before. Yes. Yeah. But to you, to the way that the paradigm in which you program in is not imperative. But underneath the hood, there's imperative logic, I'm sure, underneath the hood of all of these things. Okay. The next thing. So we learned that Terraform is built with a domain specific language called HCL. That's HashiCorp language. Cloudformation uses something called JSON. JSON. It's not Jason, it's JSON. And what it stands for is JavaScript Object Notation. Now, everyone who's doing decoded, that word object is absolutely referring to it's referring to the objects that we just learned about with classes and things like that. JavaScript object notation is a way for JavaScript to express an object, and to express an object, and it's commonly used today in web programming. It's used today in web programming paradigms. It's a good way to manage and pass around data. So JSON, you'll see it a lot, but Cloudformation is written in JSON, and we're gonna put some quotes around that. It's written in JSON. This is a format that you can use, and it's a key. JSON's really a key value store. So like right now, I want you to think of JSON as just a key value store. There's a little example here, and I've got my name here. The key is name, and it has a colon in here, and the value is Aaron. So the key of name will be equal to Aaron, and the key of name.age will be equal to 30. So it's a way to kind of structure this information, to structure your data. And JSON, although you can use JSON to write CloudFormation templates, which people don't like to write. JSON's notoriously difficult to deal with. There are these braces, curly braces, and there are brackets, and it can be tough to figure out what is what, and it's hard for people to your eyes to parse out. But it's mostly for computers to read in the term of in the paradigm of CloudFormation. This is for computers to read. So yes, you can write this in JSON. You can write CloudFormation in JSON, but you can declare your resources in JSON, but that's not recommended. You might say, well then what is this for? Why are you telling me this? Again, this is generally the output. This is the format that you're probably going to want to pass to computers. So JSON can be used depending on how you are deploying your CloudFormation templates. If they're being machine generated or something like that, you can, or you're passing them, easily through some type of process. Yeah, JSON's an option, but the way that most of us write things is YAML, and I didn't know of a cool GIF or GIF to use for YAML, so I chose a camel who seemed very happy. A happy camel seems like a YAML to me. That's the closest we're gonna get. But YAML is a recursive acronym for yet another markup language, and so it's also a superset of JSON. So all that means is that it's encompassing a JSON. YAML interpreters can actually read JSON as well. But because of this, they are interchangeable in a lot of paradigms, particularly this one as well. But this is generally what people will write YAML. People write YAML to write their CloudFormation. It's much easier for us to read than JSON is, at least for most people. I've heard people have tried to argue with me over this. I'm like, I mean, if JSON's easier for you, that's fine, but you just might be a computer, and that's okay. Whatever if you're a computer, great. But for people, YAML is generally easier to read and to also write and to create. So like Python though, YAML uses white space for scope and structure. So what I mean when I say that, this is not a programming course. So over here, JSON uses these brackets for kind of that space and structure. It does use brackets and indentation for that, but YAML uses white space like Python, so it can be a bit confusing when you look at it a little bit. You usually need your editor to have some type of little line guide or something to kind of show you where stuff is. You can break your whole file by having the wrong indentation. So it's just, think about like Python. YAML uses white space, and again, it's for humans to read. This is the machine readable, the human readable way for you to write this stuff. And that's all the slides. That is all of them right there. Simple, easy, nice. One thing I also want you to know about JSON in particular is when we are requesting things from Amazon, you can actually format it in a couple of different ways, but because of the way web development kind of works, usually JSON again is the method of choice, because JavaScript is the programming language of the internet, not because it's the best one. Like JavaScript is the web. Like you can't have the web without JavaScript. When you go to these pages and stuff, even if things are written in Go, even if things are written in Python, JavaScript is what works hand in hand with HTML and CSS to kind of give you the experience that you have. And so AWS, when we said this is a big API, we said it's one big piece of software over top of some infrastructure. And so when you make a request like AWS describe instances, AWS EC2 describe dash instances, oops, I spelled that wrong. Describe EC2 describe dash instances. What? Oh, there we go. Okay, this comes back in JSON. So does this format look confusing to you? If it does, then you are probably human and you're not a computer. And it can be difficult to read this, and you can do some cool things as you get a little farther there. Oh, this scroll pad is not great. You know, you can do things like pipe this to JQ. Whoa, this computer is not. And give it a little bit of color so I can actually see. So when I do this, you can start to see the keys and the values a little bit better. So it says the MAC address. This is the key, and the value is the MAC address of that system, and the public IP right here, and the public IP is right here, and the public DNS name, that's the key, and the value is right here. So when I do that, it gets a little bit nicer. But again, this will be annoying to write. This will be really annoying to write, to be 100% honest. And we could just converters online. We could convert this to YAML if we wanted, which is also key value stores as well. So it's not, it's not this wild new format. It's just it's a markup language. It's a structure and a way to write exactly what you see right here. Then we have JSON. When we read the perms, the IAM users, yes, we were editing and modifying JSON there, those keys and those values, same thing. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. Good callback. What is that magic? JQ? Oh, so JQ is a really great program. I would definitely check it out. It allows you to easily process JSON, and if you're dealing with JSON a lot, it allows you to do all kinds of things like filter and parse data and get some great stuff. It is phenomenal. Super easy to install. If you're on Mac, I think you can just do brew install JQ. If you're on Linux, apt install JQ or whatever. But it is really nice. Like they have packages for everything. Your programming languages, JavaScript, whatever. There's packages for JQ usually. And it gives you an easy paradigm for pulling things out. Like if I was trying to find very specific information in here about certain things, I want to pull some stuff out, I can use JQ and I can filter out some commands, after this dot to do that. And it makes it really nice and easy to parse and to process JSON. So does Chocolate do that? Oh, Chocolate to install it. Oh yeah. You should be able to through Chocolate. I bet they do have a release on there. Okay. Yeah, it's Chocolatey. Chocolatey is pretty dope. I really do like Chocolatey. Okay, so that's all the slides for tonight. What we are gonna do though is you can head over to the classroom, just like last time. We're gonna go through a guide that already exists. The reason why we're gonna go through a guide that already exists is because I want you to have. I didn't feel like making a guide, and I think for Cloudformation especially, I think having something that you can copy and paste from is a lot nicer. I have not gone through this guide that's here, but we will modify accordingly, and we'll venture off and we'll explore like we did yesterday. But everyone needs an example. We're gonna go through this to start, and there are some other things that we're gonna add in here, but I'll send this link, because this is going to show us how to do exactly what we did last time with Terraform, and I think it's good to do the same thing. We can extend on that, but just so you have something easy to compare and contrast against, to kind of determine what you like, what you don't like, and maybe what path you want to go down in the future. So for this, you'll need a text editor. You need to make sure your AWS CLI is set up as well. You actually don't need your AWS CLI to be set up. We can do this through the console. Maybe we will. I just can't remember the last time I've deployed a CF template through the console, but you can actually deploy through the console. But yeah, you just need just make sure you have a text editor. And so they go through here, an introduction to infrastructure as code here. See, they talk about it here and how nice it is. This is just a nice little look-see at what YAML looks like. So remember we talked about those keys and those values, and so YAML looks a little bit different, and because we now don't have all of those brackets and braces and stuff, it's a little bit easier to read. And you might look at this and say, oh, this isn't crazy to me at all. This doesn't look like that much. This is This may not even be complete, to be 100% honest, but this is like the bare minimum of anything that you would need. Cloudformation is I think almost unnecessarily verbose in what you have to do. There are a number of great things in Cloudformation that allow you a lot of flexibility. There are conditionals. There are ways to reference things. There's a lot of different cool ways to kind of make your templates dynamic. But it's again, I think it goes against the paradigms that people are comfortable with already. But we're gonna follow along with this. It's gonna be, nice and should be nice. There also is, we'll get there. We'll get there. So first, let's hit up the Cloudformation page, and then we'll get logged into Amazon after this. But let me share the kind of main infrastructure as code Cloudformation page. The Cloudformation documentation is not great, to be honest. Certainly not, super impressive at all. But you can go through and see the things that are on here. I have no idea what the getting started stuff is. Appreciate the host, Just Machine. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, you can watch this video on here if you want, and maybe I want to see what they have as their getting started. Like, what do they really have? Template has the following high-level JSON structure. So this is kind of good, actually. This is good. Yeah, this is kind of the structure of what you're putting inside of this template. So a description, some parameters of things that are going to go into your template. So these are inputs to customize things. Parameters are really cool, and I'm actually going to show you some production templates, some larger templates that have been created for what I do, and kind of show you kind of what that looks like as well, and kind of show you where the kind of stuff I spend my day doing. Some resources here. So the resources are those actual AWS resources that you want to spin up. Again, things like your EC2 instances, things like your S3 buckets, things like your IAM users or roles or whatever it is that you want to spin up. Those resources are kind of in there as well. And then we have outputs here, which you don't know what a stack creator is, but outputs allow you to output data from the creation of your stack. So let's say maybe you want to maybe you're spinning up an EC2 instance and you don't, it hasn't been created yet, but you want to be able to use some of that information to plug into another template that's going to be used later. Maybe the name, maybe the ARN of that or something like that. You can set up these things called outputs in here as well to output data. Outputs are also a thing in Terraform, but they're very important in the role of infrastructure as code and creating automated infrastructure. I really don't like their example because they start with JSON. That seems really odd to me. One other thing that's good is like Terraform. Cloudformation is nice because once you define your infrastructure and you deploy it, if you need to make changes to it, you make changes to the Cloudformation templates. That becomes your documentation basically, and you basically, when you go to deploy again, it will update the things that need to update, and it will, it'll leave everything else alone for the most part. But the one good thing that's here as opposed to Terraform is EC2 or for AWS in their documentation for these different pieces, it does tell you what things are going to cause, what things can update in place versus the things that are going to need to destroy the resource and be recreated. So that's a little bit interesting there. And so resources, let's see if it'll take us to their documentation. So we'll open up the CLI and we'll check out their documentation. It's not what I want. User guide. Let's just do this. AWS, EC2, Cloudformation. I want to take you over to this. docs.aws.amazon.com, and I want you to take a look. I want you to see kind of the documentation here before we kind of get started, and it'll start to give you kind of an insight to what some of this stuff kind of looks like. Again, documentation is hard to read. I'm not taking you here so you understand how to read it, but I'm just want to show you where some of these things are. So I'll just share this because we will be referencing this tonight in a few. But it gives you the different properties and things that you can add. So the same way we saw the documentation of the Cloudformation, of the Terraform stuff, these are kind of the same things, and it tells you what type they are. So we haven't talked about these things here, like booleans and strings and stuff, but it gives you what you can add and what you can do. And so this up here is the JSON version, but they also down here give you what it looks like in YAML as well, because things are done a little bit differently in the two. And then you get a rundown of what each of these things are, because you might say, hey, how do I know if I need this stuff? What is this stuff? And you can go down below and you can say, okay, additional info, and it tells you what that property is, if it's required, and what data type it is. And here it is, update requires some interruption. So this is what will tell you that when you make an update to it, what will actually happen. Can it have it in place? Will it have to destroy some things? Things like this replacement, it'll completely replace what you have. And so you got to be no interruption here. So you take a look at those as well, as you're kind of figuring out what you need inside of your Cloudformation templates. But let's go ahead and let's go through this person's actually, let's sign in real quick, and then after we sign in, we'll look at the Cloudformation like console, like in here. Let's get logged in. I don't know what that is. That sounds like ATV or something. Dirt bikes. Authy. Okay, we're in. And so Cloudformation is just another service that you can go take a look at it. Create and manage resources with templates. So templatize and deploy. Let's check this out. A bunch of old stuff in here. This is from our Elastic Beanstalk. So check that out. Description, Elastic Beanstalk environment. So when we did Elastic Beanstalk, the way that it's actually managing that on the back end is using Cloudformation. So what it did is it created something called a Cloudformation stack here for us. And that is what was used to deploy what we had. So why would they be utilizing that service in Elastic Beanstalk? Again, this is a way to templatize your AWS resources. And so they have a bunch of underlying templates that they can just reference when you need something. And that's how they know how to create your environment. It's using those templates that they have underneath. And these are just some of the things that we've done from other classes here, other weekend activities. We did a Baltimore Code and Coffee. That's what these two are. We were developing like an API that could give you coffee suggestions and stuff, but we never finished that. Actually, like when we were supposed to finish it, like I didn't have power for like a day and a half or something. Really weird. Okay. So now that we're in, let's head over to the Cloudformation. This is the Cloudformation service. You can do all of this from AWS right here. So if you go into Cloudformation, we're not going to do it from here, but just showing that you can. You can say template is ready. That's interesting. I don't remember that option, but I believe what template is ready is that you already are done with your templates, and so you can either upload it or grab it from somewhere else. You have use sample templates, so you can use templates they already have, or you can create one in Template Designer. I've never used Template Designer ever, and so I'll click into it. Because Cloudformation is a little bit tough to write, they give you this like drag and drop thing, and like maybe it'll create stuff. So maybe this will work. I have no idea if this works or not. Maybe this is really nice. So maybe if we know we want to use an EC2 instance, they give you too many options. I want an instance. And I think what you do is you just drag and drop. So if I take this I put this here. Check it out. It started to fill in things down here. It started to fill in what I need, and I can switch between JSON and YAML just like this. This is kind of cool, actually. The only problem with this is now you gotta like really go in here and build it out though, like, which is kind of annoying. Oh, sorry. Kind of annoying. So like, maybe I gotta take a security group, and I've never used this. Maybe this is, they'll put a security group here behind it. Like, oh, you connect it like this. Whoa. Well, I broke it already. I already broke my EC2 instance. To be 100% honest, I don't know what's happening. There we go. Maybe I do something like this, from this dot to this dot. Okay, give me my template. It's gone. Okay, but you have this. I don't know how to use it. Maybe you can watch some videos on how to use it. I've never seen anyone use it. That is, generally people are not going to hire you to do this right here. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be writing this by hand. Let me write this by hand. So that's what we're going to do. But once you go through there, you can also upload these to S3 buckets to be deployed from S3 buckets if you want, rather than uploading them directly. Or you can run them from the command line, and that's what we're going to be doing tonight. And if you want to do it from an S3 bucket, you just tell it where to go grab it from. And you can run through, and you can deploy via this. You can also update stacks via this. So that's okay to do. And you might say, oh, that's great, I'll just do that. And you can just do that. But generally, you're going to have lots of, you're going to have more than, maybe not lots, but you're going to have more than one template usually. So it, it seems a little bit weird to, like, it's a cumbersome process. There are much faster ways to deploy these templatized environments. And so what we're going to do now is, let's go ahead and, if you have VS Code, open up VS Code. VS Code has a Cloudformation extension. I don't know how good it is, to be honest. Let's see, you can just, or open up whatever text editor you want to open up, and AWS Cloudformation. I don't think the extensions for Cloudformation are great, to be honest, but they have them. They're there. So if you type in Cloudformation, it'll be probably, this first one is probably the best one because it's got all these stars, 94,000 of them to be precise. But it should give you some information. It should give you a little bit of auto completion, should give you some nice color coding, all that stuff, and help you out with YAML templating. You can also download some type of YAML extension. I'm not gonna recommend any right now because I've had trouble with some of them. But again, these will just help you get some cool colors and things to help your eyes visually know what to do. I don't know which one's the best though. So there's a linter you can add. But let's get started. Let's run through the walkthrough this person gave it to us. All right, so needed for this tutorial, an AWS account. You're signed up for Cloudformation. You're familiar with the YAML. Sorry, we will be using YAML instead of JSON. Not sorry, that is the right answer. It is the correct answer. So create a Cloudformation template. Let's create a YAML formatted Cloudformation template. And we can take this and we can copy and paste it if we'd like. But again, we're gonna type it out. I think that, no, you should copy and paste it if you want, but I think sometimes if you're interested in actually doing things like this, it makes it a little bit better if you kind of start to get the muscle memory down of typing some of these things out. Not important that you memorize, the structure and all this stuff. Like, no one memorizes this, like, at all. I know what the structure looks like. I do not know what needs to go into an EC2 service. I do not know what needs to go into an S3 bucket service. I don't need to know any of that stuff, or resource. So it's not important. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a folder here called learn dash Cloudformation, and in there I'm going to create a file. And normally it feels weird using VS Code, but I'm going to call this I'm going to call this ec2.yaml. Now YAML is an interesting file type. It actually, you can use YAML, or you can actually use the YML extension as well. And notice how either one, I have a little icon here that that changes when it knows what kind of file type I'm using. If I do YML, it shows the Y there for YAML, or if I do YMAL, which is the name of it, it uses YAML. I think YAML is the language spec, but YML works as well. But I have a file here now. Does YAML require actual tabs or spaces? So either one. It doesn't require either one. It just uses those things. Those things need to be on the same levels. The tabs and spaces will be registered differently, but it doesn't need either one. You can choose 4 tabs or 3 tabs, or 4 spaces or 3 spaces, or whatever you want to do for that is what you can do. I generally if I'm doing something important, I actually use spaces. I know I'm a little bit of a weird person. I use spaces if I'm doing something important, like if I am like something that's not mine. But if I'm doing something like this, I generally will just tab it because it's easier. I'm a little more intentional about what I'm doing when it's not my stuff, which is interesting. But I'm gonna go ahead and type this stuff out real quick, and you can start to see how it starts to change colors. And I'm gonna hit tab instead of spaces here. But yeah, it's just about the indentation. That's all it's about, is the indentation. So I could go all the way over to here if I wanted and go here, but I would have to keep that indentation consistent throughout this. And so this is going to be to spin up an EC2 instance, and I can type in, whoa, that's nice, timeout. So what just happened is, I spelled resources way wrong. Thank you. Resources. Okay, resources. There we go. But I typed in. That's very interesting. So, all right, let's break this down real quick. Because I just added that extension. I started typing in like EC2 instance. I get some auto completions here, and this is why the tools in text editors and IDEs are kind of nice. But also they can be a crush a little bit. But you can. I can hit enter, say, hey, I want to set up the block for a resource that is an EC2 instance, and it automatically sets this up for me, which is really nice because it was a pain to go through and figure out what properties you needed for an EC2 instance before. And so you can already see, this is already a little bit more confusing than Terraform. But maybe we will go we'll not do that. We'll not do this because you may not have the same thing. You may be using a different text editor. We'll go through and do exactly what they do, because I don't know what they plan on doing after this anyway. But the first property is going to be, they put EC2 instance here. This can be whatever you want it to be. This is an identifier. This key here is just an identifier inside of Cloudformation to reference this resource. It's not the actual name of the resource, but it's the name of the resource as far as Cloudformation is concerned. So I can call this, our EC2 instance or something, whatever you want to call it. Great. And then this is where it'll get a type. And so this is what actually tells what type of resource it is. So we're declaring an entire resource here, so that could be the S3 bucket, whatever. But our type right here is going to be the actual thing, and the format looks like this. You'll see these colon things a lot, or maybe 3 colons as well. But EC2 is what we want, and we want instance. All right, so now we've given it a type, and I wonder if I highlight it if it says anything. No, I don't want. Why did it do that? All right, and so that's our type, and now we give it properties. So properties are going to be the parts of this object that describe more information about what this is. So the first thing we have is instance type. We've learned about instance types. This is that instance type in class, and so T2 micro is what we're going to do. T2 micro, we're going to do image ID. So remember, what's the image ID? That is the AMI that we're going to be using to spin this instance up off of. What's up, Todd Libby? Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for the follow. What's up, doing the education? Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Good to have you. Vita Hacks. So glad you are here. PDX Insomniac, good to have you as well. Aramitha, welcome to the channel. Good to have you as well. And Noah, Noah Pants Party, that's a phenomenal name. I love it. Welcome. Thank you so much for the follow. Good to see everybody. Alejo, everyone who I think I already said hello to. Good to have you. Okay, so your image ID is going to be that ID for the AMI in which you choose to grab. So now when you are going through these tutorials, sometimes they'll include those things in there for you. That is okay, but make sure you're paying attention. Remember, these AMI IDs are specific to an image, yes, but they're also specific to a build of an image, as well as specific to a region as well. So that's what they put here. Hey, this is the Amazon Linux AMI in California, so it will fail if we copied exactly what this person had and we try to deploy this to US East 1. This would in fact fail. It would fail because this AMI ID does not exist in US East 1. So where can we go to get that information? There are pages for this. Like, I think if you Google it, Amazon has like a page for AMIs. So let me see this. AWS AMI list. So you don't have to go into the list of, like, you don't have to go to EC2 and build new start to build a new EC2 instance. You can there's like a, let me see where I can find it. There's like a thing using the console, so you can use it. You can do it using the CLI. Let me see how you let me see what options they do give you here. I know there's a page for this as well. I never remember what it is because I just do it the way, oh, you can do a systems manager. Okay, let's see that. Yep. To find, so this is how I do it. Open up EC2 console, navigate to the bar. Yeah, this is how I usually do it. Which is a terrible way. I thought they had a publicly available list. You can also do it through the AWS CLI, which is nice. That's really annoying. I thought there was a page. Yeah, okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in the way that I've been doing it, and that a lot of people I know, this is how we go grab it. If we want to know one that exists, and we will go to launch an instance, and let's say we want to use, we've been using Ubuntu, let's do Amazon Linux this time. I don't know why. Let's do Amazon Linux, and we'll copy that. The AMI ID will be right here, and we can copy it, and we can go ahead and paste that in there. So we're getting close. We're getting close to everything that we have to do. Oh, cool. Somebody gave me a very simple, there we go. This is just talking about, oh, there we go. There we go. That's exactly what I was looking for. It gives you the region, and it gives you kind of just a quick access to some AMI IDs that you can use. Thank you very much, AO. I was like, I know there's a list out there somewhere, and it stays up to date as they kind of do new things. So yeah, perfect. We're not using that one. No big deal. Cool. So now what we can do, these are these old, the latest AMI or last 2018. That seems old. Seems pretty old, but okay. Our AMI ID is in here. Let's go back to our Medium article, and then tags. So we actually, let's make this a little bit bigger. These tags that we have here, we open up our Learn Terraform. We kind of have the same setup here. Now let's close the Explorer, go back over here. We're starting to get the same setup. Ignore this top part up here. So maybe if I scroll like this, we have a resource that we describe here as a little block of code, but this time we're going to do resources. So that may lead you to believe that we can add more than one resources object over here, which is true. And then we give it a name. So this name right here is really equivalent to this name right here. And then setting up the type, which is an AWS EC2 instance, is the same as this. These are the same thing as telling the tool what AWS resources we are actually spinning up. And then in here are all the properties, and that's what we are going to be setting right here. We set the instance type right here, and we're going to set the image ID, which is the AMI up here. And then what else are they going to have us set? Let's go down. They're going to also have us set tags. So tags here is done in this list right here, this little array here. And so they said they're gonna add a tag called name. So we'll do the same thing. We'll add a tag called name, and it has the key, which is name, and the value, which is my EC2 instance. But it's also funny because it's also a key and a value and a key and a value. So that's pretty interesting. What's up, Sin City? How are you doing tonight? Hope you're doing excellent. I'm doing good. I'm a little bit tired, but I am doing pretty good. I can't complain at all. I'm only tired because I'm preparing for this talk tomorrow. I have a talk tomorrow. I don't have a link for it, to be honest. I'll try to share it. I'll try to share the DevOps 95 website. I was trying to get that together today, but I had to work, again, not quite up until the stream like last night, but I had to work pretty close to up until when the stream started. I should have made a little bit of coffee, to be 100% honest. Yes, I am actually planning on getting a little bit of merch. I'm definitely getting stickers. I actually am getting some design right now. I'm going to get some basic logo stickers. I'm going to make a couple cool stickers because, you are not a programmer or someone in tech until you have all the stickers on your laptop. It's not true. But I like stickers, so I will be getting some stickers, and I will be looking into getting some merch, like shirts and stuff, mostly for me to wear, to be 100% honest. And if anyone else would like a shirt, I'll make that openly and available. But we are not doing, we talked about it before, we're not doing no basic, basic t-shirt with the logo on it. Like, that's cool. There's a space for that. But I mean, if you're gonna do it, you got to do it. So these will be well designed because we got to be fly. We got to be fly out here. But yeah, there will be. I promise you. That is the next thing up on the docket. But yes, if Under Armour, if you guys are out there again, we're gonna need some shirts when we do, our reps and repos. When we go through that process, we're gonna need some cool custom clothes, Under Armour. So make sure. When you're putting together the package that you are going to provide to us for this reps and repos thing, make sure you account for the clothes, the customized merch you are going to need to provide to us and the entire community. So, we're giving you a heads up of what we expect Under Armour. So my message to Under Armour is my tweet to Under Armour is it was up to 20 tweets in a thread, but I cut it down to make it a little more concise because I know people weren't going to read 20 threads, a 20 tweet thread. So now I've dropped it down to like 8. So I'm probably gonna send it out tomorrow because we got to get their attention. They got to give us. I'm telling you, the reps and repos thing, that was really, really good. I can't remember who said it, but it was a phenomenal idea, and I'm so excited about it. And we're gonna push this till the end until they give it to. They're gonna give us something. They're gonna give us something, even if it's just hey. I think reps and repos is also cool. I'll take that. We'll take. Well, actually, no, we won't take that. We want shirts. We actually want full workout sets. We want free gym memberships. We want all the stuff because we want to meet The Rock. That's what we want. I want Dwayne to come sit down right next to me, and I want him to code out some cool stuff. But until that happens, we're stuck here doing our own Cloudformation. Yeah, Managed Chaos. It was Managed Chaos. And like I said, Managed Chaos, I'll make sure you get your due. You'll get we'll pay our dues to you. Going off the deep end. Hey, you gotta put that energy out in the atmosphere. You want something to happen, you take that energy and you exude it, and the universe will find a way to make sure that energy is used accordingly. So, Dwayne's gonna see this. We're on a first name basis, and his last name is The Rock. It's Dwayne. The Rock Johnson is actually, he's such a cool guy that like he gets The Rock is his last name, and Johnson is like it's like the second or third, like whatever the suffix is, it's really cool. It's pretty interesting name paradigm. No one else can have it. but it's pretty cool. All right, so now that we've gone through and we've started to define a little bit of what we have, we need to add tags real quick. So tags are part of the property as well. Let's see, where are we at? We were all the way up here, and we add the tags. Here's another property. And I keep forgetting that I am not using Vim. And our tags here, whoops, and to create this little array of tags, which was going to be, the key was going to be name. And did that need to be a string? I can't remember if it needed to be a string. No, it did not. And the value is going to be our key value is going to be mn, let's just call this cf test instance. Sure, whatever. So cf test instance is what we're going to have here. Do you need to write all this in a specific order? Great question. And that's an even better question because we talked a little bit about declarative versus imperative programming, and there is an order to the things when you write them for each block. So like for the actual resource block needs to be a certain way, but no, these properties inside of here, the things that are on the same level, the things that are on the same indentation level, generally do not need, the order doesn't matter. Generally the order does not matter if they're on the same level. So type, I could actually probably move type below this and it'll still be fine. I think type might need to be at the top. I'm not really sure. We can actually mess around with it and play around with it a little bit, but generally things of the same level can be moved around. So I can definitely move around things like this. I can move instance type up and down, image ID up and down, but things of the same level can generally be moved around how you wish. So I'm not going to add another tag. Tags are getting just that metadata. And so on here, they kind of talk through the same thing we just talked about, what each of those things kind of means. And then you could upload it. So it shows them uploading this from the console. We're not going to do that. We're going to do this from the CLI because we're going to do it from the CLI. And so maybe if you wanted to, and also this is also something that was funny is Terraform is out of the box is better than Cloudformation, because what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to deploy a Cloudformation template at a time, at least with the out of the box default paradigms in which AWS gives to us. So we're about to write a command really quick to deploy this Cloudformation template. Terraform, we could have all of our stuff in there and it would take care of all of it with a Terraform apply, and it would do everything that we need. And so Cloudformation, there are other tools that you kind of have to use to manage lots of Cloudformation templates. We use a custom one, but like there aren't any amazing options for this, which is really annoying. And another reason why Cloudformation isn't necessarily the best, you can use Terraform. You can use Terraform to deploy your Cloudformation templates. I know that sounds crazy, but yes, you can use Terraform to control and manage and deploy your Cloudformation templates. You choose either YAML or JSON for Cloudformation, right? So I'm actually writing in YAML right now. I'm writing in YAML right now. We did talk about both a little bit, and I can show you some examples. We're probably not going to we could convert this into JSON, to be honest. But we're covering kind of just how people normally write it. Normally you're going to be writing it in YAML most of the time. And so here we go. We have this, and now we can deploy it. So I'm gonna hit Control tilde to open up a terminal here, or you can open up a terminal wherever you want. And the way that we're gonna do this from the Cloudformation is AWS, and remember, in AWS commands, usually it's AWS and the name of the service. So I could say Cloudformation, and then maybe I want maybe I don't know what to do next, so I'm gonna do help. And so we're just gonna run through what you can do to get some help. So in here we have some options, and these available commands, you may not know what to do. And again, you could Google this. 100% you should Google this. I'm not telling you to do this way. I'm just kind of introducing you to some new paradigms of how you might go about finding answers. You should Google, how do I deploy a CloudFormation template via the command line? You should just Google it, and you should do what they say and try to understand, but you can use the command line to get what you want. The command that I actually want is deploy. And so if you want to get more help and you don't know how to use deploy, I can say deploy help, and it'll tell you what you can do. And it'll say dash template file and give it a value, and so that's how I can specify. It tells you down here if I want to deploy it from an S3 bucket, I can give it a dash S3 bucket and tell it where to get that from. But I'm going to use dash template file, the path where your AWS CloudFormation template file is located. So I'm going to start to put together my command: AWS CloudFormation deploy dash template file. Template dash file, and then it said the string, which is the name of the file. And so right here I have called this what is this folder called? This folder is called CloudFormation, actually learn CloudFormation, and ec2.yaml. Oh, Prime coming in with the massive raid. First off, welcome, sir. What's up, Beast Code? Good to see you. How's everyone doing? What's up, Ben Haverson? Haverson, are you familiar with the Haversine formula, which will help you locate distance on a spherical plane? I believe is what it does. Helps you with geolocation. I learned a little bit about that earlier this year, which was interesting. But what's up, everybody from Prime? Welcome. Come on in. You know, I don't know what you guys were learning today. I think I saw you doing some Vim stuff. I didn't get to come lurk today, but welcome. Come on in. We are learning a little bit about CloudFormation. We're currently in the middle of an AWS bootcamp, a beginner AWS bootcamp to kind of, you know, get our feet wet with cloud computing a little bit. And we're learning infrastructure as code. So on Monday, we started learning about what infrastructure as code was. So how do you spin up infrastructure via code? And we started to dive into that using Terraform. Tonight, we're going to be learning about AWS's specific offering on how to do that. So we're actually writing some very basic CloudFormation templates right now and understanding how you declare what your infrastructure is going to look like. You declare what these resources are going to be, and you pass it off to the program, and it delivers them for you so that you can create a consistent, reliable, repeatable, free documentation setup of your infrastructure. But what's up, everyone? What's up, all the follows? Thank you so much. Thank you for the raid again. Let me give you that shout out, Prime. I shared your 2 steps for Vim video yesterday. Again, that video brings me joy almost daily. Gonna be 100% honest. It's so good. It's so good. I shared it at work. It's phenomenal. Shout outs. Let's see. The Prime again. There we go. Peace. I hope your stream was great. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Go ahead and get out of here and go relax. Headed back to the office next week. No watching the background. So I am probably going to start biking into the office. So, I'm on my cycling tip now. Probably start cycling into the office. They're starting to allow people in. When I can. I have my own little separated space as well. So fix the bottle. I don't know what that means at all. I don't see any bottles here. No idea. Okay. Can you also cover using design? So we jumped into the CF designer a little bit. I do not know how to use a CF designer, to be 100% honest with you. I've never used it. I've always written my CF templates manually. But we can try to dive in and see if we can learn how to make it work 100%. But this is most of the command that you're gonna have to write. So this is how you would do it from the command line. I actually think I need one more parameter, to be 100% honest. Stack name, that's what I need. Stack dash name. And so this stack name is going to be, remember we were over on this page here for CloudFormation. We're over on the let's head back over to CloudFormation. Let's get over here. But what's up, Dirty Socrates? Oh, the best names. Dirty Socrates, MVA Gusta, welcome. Rush Mead, welcome. Doug. I like that. The UG, OUG. I really like the way that you did that. Geo, my dude. Blue Mambo, welcome. Halt and Catch, good to have you. The Rings W, welcome. Ben Haverson, DDoS2, don't DDoS me, please. What's up, boss? Thank you so much. Again, good to have you. But these are the stacks right here. These are the Cloudformation stacks. And again, these stacks describe the managed resource that your CloudFormation template is spinning up. So in here in this stack, it has, you know, which resources are included in it. So, you know, a single stack can be comprised of lots of resources, which is nice. And you can use these stacks to kind of spin things up and down as well. So now what we will do is we will declare a stack name. The stack name is just going to be our stack, whatever, doesn't really matter what it's called, but you need to declare a stack name. And the reason I know I need to do that is because it says, hey, the following arguments are required. So this is how you would do it from the command line. Again, we can go through and upload this ourselves as well. It's also important to note that, again, you can actually do this from an S3 bucket. So I could have, instead of specifying a template file, I could put this file somewhere in an S3 bucket, and I could specify that right here, and it would deploy from there. And you might have to actually do that. You may have to actually do that when, if your CloudFormation template is too large, if you have too many things in it, you may have to do that as well. So it's really nice. So none type object has no attribute. I'll check out what that is in a second. It might be an issue with our CloudFormation template in a second, but let's go back. I just was going to run through what they had in here. They were going to have us update it in here. So let's see. So since they want us to go through, I don't really want to do that. Prepare. Okay, whack. We're not doing this way. So CloudFormation. Deploy stack CLI. It's always amazing how I always surprise myself at how I don't know, you start to learn technologies and then you start to use different layers of technology to abstract away the things that well, not even to abstract in this case, but to manage multiple things. So it's interesting. So these are, I guess these are the only things that are important. And let's see really quick, do I have to stringify this? It should automatically be taken in. Create set versus deploy. Hello boss, how are you doing today? Could you share your learning resource? The learning resource that we're using is we're just running through this Medium article. I have no idea if this Medium article is good or not. We're gonna go rogue off of it anyway, but I wanted to kind of go through it because, again, I think it's easier to go through something that's already written like this that you can copy and paste from if you need to go back over it and practice it again on your own. Okay, this should be all we need, but let's see what the error is now. A little quick homage and throwback to yesterday. Remember, not yesterday, last class. Remember how Terraform, when we immediately encountered an error, remember how it told us exactly what the problem was? Now you already can start to see some of the paradigms where this time we tried to run this and it says, hey, I have a none type object here, no attribute get. And you might say, what in the world does that mean? Why does that mean anything to me? I don't know what that means. And again, it's hard to troubleshoot. It is, these CF templates are hard to troubleshoot. There are ways to CloudFormation templates, as far as I know of, do not have a native validator, and let's find out. Validate, and it's hard. It becomes difficult to validate these templates properly because a lot of them just check to see if they are a valid JSON, really just valid JSON or valid YAML. So we can use this validate template. I've actually never used this because it doesn't provide you that much, that many resources. So again, it checks to see if the template is valid JSON. See? Oh, if it isn't, AWS CloudFormation checks to see if the template is valid YAML. And so that's all it's really checking for, not necessarily to check if it is great. And so template URL, template body. CLI input JSON, generate CLI skeleton. Okay. Very interesting. Template body file. That's very interesting. But again, we don't need to check that right now. You can also copy and paste this and put this thing inside of a validator online, which is interesting. So let's just go back and compare before we look into what's wrong with it. Just because if there's an issue with this, I want to know so that I can tell people what to do differently. All right, and let's take a look at what they have versus what we have. So they have their resources, we have our resources right up top. Things are looking mighty fine. Oh, that might be the problem. The problem might be that we didn't save the file. That could be the big problem. So let's, oh, that was the problem. We didn't actually save the file, so it didn't have any of the new stuff in there. It might have been pretty empty, actually. I was looking at it, I was like, oh, this seems like valid CloudFormation. But so we start to get some output like we got yesterday, waiting for change set to be created, waiting for change sets. We'll get we're not going to talk about change sets tonight, but the stack is being created, it's being updated right now, and you can actually go in and see this being done inside of CloudFormation. And if I refresh, and so it's actually, it failed. So you can see our stack here. It tells you kind of what it does. Now, these CloudFormation changes and templates and stuff are kind of nice. Sometimes because of the way that they work when they encounter an error, they will they'll do their best to put themselves back in a state that works. So if you go to deploy something, excuse me, that does not work, that fails to deploy properly, that has some type of mismatched configuration or an invalid configuration, it will start to deploy. It'll spin up these new resources, it'll start to spin down other resources, and if it fails, if it runs into a problem, it'll do its best to roll back to the state that it was in. So it says rollback complete, which is interesting because there's nothing to really roll back to besides nothing, but you can click into the events here and see exactly what was wrong. And so it says here, unexpected values found for value, and failed to create our EC2 instance, rollback requested by user, delete complete. So deleted all of our stuff. So we actually don't have a stack right now. And this problem, I thought this was weird, and I thought they let me see what they put in here, but the V in value is lower. Oh, it's not lowercase, it just looked lowercase to me. And so you can see how it didn't tell me, even CloudFormation did not tell me what was wrong. It told me what there was an issue with, but it didn't tell me what was actually wrong. It says, hey, I don't know if I like value. I don't know if I like this. And so a lot of your time as an engineer is going to be spent, doing things like this. And again, that's just a copy pasta problem for me, but yeah, there we go. Now, if we try to go deploy this again, we can go back and take a look. And so take a look at this. This is another problem with CloudFormation. It says, hey, an error occurred when calling change set operation stack, and it gives me a bunch of stuff, a big ID. It says, hey, it's in a rollback complete state and cannot be updated. A lot of times you have to manually go in and do some things. So this stack, because nothing's actually been created, we actually have to go in and manually delete the stack. It's really annoying. You can do that from the command line. Not a big deal. I could have just changed the name of the stack, no problem, and it would spin up something else, but you have to watch these things and clean these things up. So already, again, you're starting to see how much different this is. So it uses these CloudFormation stacks to determine kind of the state of things as well, whereas Terraform was using those state files. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. It's really annoying, actually. It's delete in progress. It's all gone. Now that it's gone, I can actually deploy this again via our stack, and we can see if this time, if it starts to create properly, and it's reviewing, it's going to go through and it's going to run through that. So we'll let that go. And which state of a project do you recommend adding Terraform, or CloudFront, or CloudFormation? Great question. Honestly, in the very it's easiest if you do it from the very beginning. And honestly, no matter how small the project is, I think if you are using infrastructure as code, I think it used to be a big setup, but now it's such a minimal setup to get started with things. I think that if it's going to be a project that you plan on working on long term that might grow, I think you should use some type of tool to do this, even if it's just a script to kind of manage those things, just to really help, one, with cost, and to help with management. It is a little bit of setup up front, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it's actually really fast for you to get simple things. It's almost faster to get something set up for me to spin up 10 servers in Cloudformation or Terraform. It's actually faster than if I were to do it by hand. But Kernel Panic, again, you're back again with the gifted subs. Thank you so much, everyone. Please clap it up for Mr. Panic or Mrs. Panic, I don't know. Kernel Panic, welcome. Thank you so much again for the gifted subs. Honestly, the past like 2-3 weeks, everyone has been incredibly supportive, which has been really great, because I'm trying to like I said, I told you guys I was working on making these actually super legitimate like equivalent to $18,000 boot camps. And so I've actually been putting a lot of time and energy and money into starting to create that process, because it is a very time consuming process, and getting things being made that people can actually really go to, and like real solid like content that I'm working on. So I really appreciate it. It actually really helps a lot. So I genuinely do appreciate you, Kernel Panic. Thank you so much. Is there a schema you could validate against? So yeah, you can really just check to see if it is valid JSON or YAML. Because they decided not to go with their own domain specific language, it's really difficult to determine if it's valid or not. It kind of just checks against that. How do you like Pop OS? I love Pop OS. I really do love Pop OS. Once I got comfortable going back to GNOME, I went away from GNOME for a while, and then I gave it a chance. And once I really like the workflow of GNOME. I really got it down. I really like the way the workspaces work. I use all the things in it. I know how to customize it well now. My workflow in Linux is actually really great. So I really do like Pop OS. Not nearly enough tabs. I'm assuming you're talking about the tabs in my browser and not the tabs in the editor. But yeah, no, there's not enough in either one, to be honest. Kernel Panic, thank you. Here comes the love. Thank you so much. There's an option for automatically delete instead of leaving in rollback state. Probably disable rollback. Yeah, I'm sure there is. There's so many options, but yeah, I'm sure there is. We'll check that out in a second. Terraform or Ansible, they do well. So Ansible does do some provisioning. You can provision with Ansible. Terraform, again, they are, I would use them in tandem. So I would use Terraform for the provisioning of my resources, and I wouldn't, but you could use Terraform for the provisioning of resources, Ansible for the configuration of those. So getting, your applications and things set up on there. What is this? Prime really? Oh, this is this global emote. I didn't know about this. I really like that global emote. Team, I'm nothing without the wifey. That is fair. Same. I am absolutely nothing without the wifey. She's actually going to visit our dear goddaughter, who is her birthday today. She's like she's 2. Yeah, she's 2, and we got her some nice books, and she's heading up there. Unfortunately, I couldn't get up there, but one day. Do I have shirts? No. Someone asked earlier. I don't have shirts yet. Shirts are coming. They're coming. Everything's coming. But that'll help. That your subs will absolutely help get those. So I do appreciate that. Okay. So our stack, the create, is now complete. So now we actually have an EC2 instance that's set up. And so how can we confirm that we have an EC2 instance set up? We can head over to EC2 over here. And we can see that we have a running instance called something that we named it. I don't remember what we named it, but we can see that, which is CF test instance. Really nice. Now we have the same problem with this server that we did yesterday with the other server. One, we can't log into it because we never gave it a key pair, but what we do know is that we can these are things that can be configured through this. So maybe let's go through the rest of this person's walkthrough, and then let's go in and see if we can edit this to be something that we can use in the future. So they give us that. They want to do it through the console, and maybe we'll try to do the update through the console. Pot liquor, oh my gosh, thank you for the love. First off, I don't know if I think Pot liquor, I think you are a VIP of the, I think you're already a VIP, but let's see. I think both of you are already VIP. Let's see. We got shirts. on the way. We got shirts on the way. Thank you so much. Now, just because of that, we for sure we've got some merch on the way. I really do appreciate it. And of course, I told you we're here to stay. You know, we're here to make sure that anyone who wants to have a little fun and learn how to do some stuff that could make them some money, that could help get them a career, we want to make sure they have the resources to be able to do that, and that's why we're here. And again, I genuinely do appreciate it. Someone in BCC can probably design some shirts, man. Yeah. I'll send a message in the Slack right now. I'm assuming I think I know what BCC is. I'm assuming that means the Black Code Collective. So I will definitely reach out there to see if anyone can make me some shirts, because the BCC shirts are dope, are fire, and I was mad I missed out on them. I didn't even find out about the BCC until you guys were stopped selling them, and I was hurt. You know, I wanted my name. People had their names and stuff. I was like, dang, it was crazy. Yep, I didn't get it. But cool. So let's we got ourselves a server. Really nice. We have ourselves a server, and let's see what else we can do here. Let's see what else this goes through. And I actually do encourage you all, as you're learning Cloudformation, again, the goal of the past 2 classes is to understand infrastructure as code, not to become a Cloudformation expert, not to become a Terraform expert at all. That is a whole different skill set. But seeing how it works is really nice. But I actually would encourage you to do the same thing we're doing now. But I would go through and do it via the terminal, because that's a process that, again, I can't remember if I've even ever done it that way. I don't think I've ever done it, to be honest. And so I could go through and do that now. Maybe we could do an S3 bucket or something. But I encourage you to go through and kind of see these things done a different way, and to play around a little bit, and to do things in ways that I did not do them. And so I didn't even read through this. This is really nice. We learned a little bit when we were on the EC2 section about user data, and we actually utilized user data a little bit to kind of run a script when the server started, to be able to write a little bit of Linux, to be able to do some things that we want to do. And it looks like they are going to tell us to do the same thing. So in this Cloudformation, again, everything that you can specify from the console, you can do in the Cloudformation. So it looks like they're going to use a little bit of user data to get something done, to get us a web server automatically up and running. This is going to be nice. I hope this works, and let's see what this looks like. What's up, Rad Cullen? I've been lurking long enough now. Came over with the problem again. I appreciate that. Purple Cow, I'm a sub for a certain Purple Cow company, the best Purple Cow company, you know, the greatest of the Purple Cow companies. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. And dope, that's what's up. What if you can share, what project are you subbing on? That's pretty dope. While doing the guide, I had to change the AMI. Yes, perfect, Sin City. See, and that is a learning process. I noted it a little bit in the beginning, but you do have to change the AMI, and I'm actually going to note that in the Google Classroom, that you have to change the AMI. The question will come up on the exam about AMIs and them being regional. AMIs, you know, they are different via region for the same thing, and we can dive into that a little bit more as well. Yes, you can watch them offline. Well, if you're offline, I don't know if you can watch them unless you download them from YouTube, but feel free to download them. You can watch YouTube offline. Yeah, you can download them. I need to catch up on posting the YouTube videos. If you're gonna be somewhere and you need them, I can definitely, there's nothing stopping me from uploading them now. I just haven't rendered them, so I guess that's stopping me. I need to render them out real quick and do that. But you can, yeah, I think you can download the VODs. It takes a little while for them to, like, when you click the download button, it takes a while for it to get there. But yeah, want to watch them while I'm on a flight? Yeah, then I'll get it might be easier to download from YouTube, to be 100% honest. Do you have to pay for it? No, there are services. There are free online services to download it. And you know what though? What I'll also do is I will actually, that's very interesting. What I'll also start doing is, because it's cheap and I can do it faster actually, I'll stick them in, I don't mind putting these in the S3 bucket as well. It's a lot faster for me to put them in the S3 bucket, and I won't have to trim. I can put them up immediately because I will not have to trim the beginning off. I won't have to trim the beginning off, and you know, and you can grab it if you want to do it that way as well. I can do that right after that. That ain't nothing at all. Beth, Tiff, and Alex. Oh, dope. Yeah, I used to work with Alex used to be on my team. They're all great people. Tiff's amazing. So is Beth. That's awesome. That is pretty cool. Okay. Oh, 8:30, we're making amazing time. So let's take a look at what they added to their CloudFormation template. And this is when it starts to get kind of big and cumbersome, and can get a little bit of annoying to kind of deal with. But they have a new property here called user data. Oh, excuse me, man. So this is, don't worry about this F in here in base 64. That's just going to be the encoding that this is don't worry about the encoding. For you to pass in user data, this is what you're going to have to pass in, and then you can write yourself a little script down here with the sub, and starting right here, they write themselves a little script. So we learned how to install Nginx. This one is installing Apache instead, so we can actually switch ours up a little bit to install Nginx, and they did an update, and then they did a yum install, and so we would do that with Nginx, and then they started it up, and that is the script that's going to run when this instance kind of gets up and running. It's going to be the initialization script that kind of happens, and so that's all they added to it. They added a little bit of code, and we can do exactly the same. So let's copy it and let's actually modify it a bit to be to work for Nginx, just because we know Nginx a little bit better. This actually may not work. Well, we'll Google it real quick. I forgot that we use Amazon Linux, and enabling Nginx on Amazon Linux is just a little bit different. So we'll do that. I have a problem watching the YouTube videos on my laptop, so it would be amazing if it could be. Yeah, I can certainly put in an S3 bucket. That is the easiest thing for me to do. Like I said, I don't have to render them out if I put them on S3. The reason I can't just upload them to YouTube is because they will I can if I change my intro music, and I do change my intro music fairly often, but I usually make it a song that is copyrighted, to be honest, for one. But people also don't like to watch videos with 10 minutes of intro, and generally I have 10 minutes of intro, so again, I trim those off for people's convenience. And then if I trim that off, I then have to render the video out. The videos are 2.5 to 3 hours. My computer's pretty powerful. It takes 40 something minutes, to render out each one of those videos. And then it takes another 40 minutes to upload, because my upload speeds, because of Comcast, aren't that great. And these videos are all like 10 gigs. I can compress them to a lot smaller than that, to be honest. But they're sitting on YouTube, so I don't. So I will, I'll definitely upload those for you. Hit that bell. Sure. There are also, like I said, there's a lot coming, and actually I'll wait till next time to announce one other thing about kind of the future and kind of what's going to kind of free me up to do a little bit more of this, and kind of when that's going to be. Just going through some things with that right now, but like I said, I have some cool YouTube videos coming along, but they're big. They're much bigger than I originally wanted them to be, and they won't always be like that. But like I do like the kind of longer format. There aren't tutorial. They're more fun tutorial vids rather than kind of teaching you a technical topic. More of an all-encompassing kind of de facto guide to something is kind of fun. Definitely been kind of fun. Making a record while streaming instead of just taking the video, that's true. So Just Machine, I could do that, but I know that I'll forget. I know that I will forget to press the record button. I have a Stream Deck here. You're right. If I can figure out a way to mentally remember to hit that record button when I start, that would be perfect, and that would save me the most ridiculous amount of time. I wouldn't have to do anything, so maybe I should commit myself to doing that, because I wonder, you know what, because we're hashtag on time gang, and we are never late. I bet there's a way to simply automate the recording to start right at 7 p.m. and that is what we'll do. That right there is what we'll do. We'll automate that piece. It'll be pretty nice. I hope it'll be nice. But yeah, that's a great idea. I'll try to implement that. That'll make my life, that will save so much of my time, because it takes a surprising amount of time to trim 10 minutes off of a couple of videos. Like, not because it's a surprising amount of time in that, like, for a week's worth it'll take me like 15 minutes, and like it's just long enough where I'm like, oh, it's like tedious enough where I have to like go move the cursor like up, like transfer all the stuff in and move it over, and then I got to queue them up so that it's not one at a time and then render them all out. It's kind of annoying, but yeah, I'll figure that part out. I like that though. I'll find out whatever command I can run to start the recording inside of OBS, and we'll make it a little bit fun. So what we have here is the user data, and they put the user data above the tags. I don't think it matters where it goes. I generally put the user data at the bottom every time. But again, these three lines are the kind of the section for the, like, that define what the user data is going to be. And don't worry about these things right now. Don't worry about the exclamation point sub. But again, these are the little pieces that allow you, that make things complicated. These are the little tidbits, these exclamation point subs, and there's an exclamation point ref for referencing. There's, exclamation point get attribute or get adder, and like there's all these little things that make CloudFormation a bit of a pain to deal with, a bit of a pain to debug. And again, it's a tool that does what it's supposed to, but it's not fun. Like Terraform, I feel like once you get to learn it, it's fun to develop infrastructures using Terraform. It is not fun to use to set up infrastructures using CloudFormation, to be 100% honest. So we're gonna need to Google something real quick. Let's Google Amazon Linux. Works a little bit different. He says, why does Rel using Yum and Debian using apt-get would it be easier if it was one format? Guess different. Oh, that's a Sin City. Phenomenal question about standardization of things. Yes. Yeah, it will be easier for us. But there are a number of reasons why each of those distributions has chosen to go their own way with these things. So one, people don't usually know you can absolutely get Yum on Debian, and you can absolutely get apt on Rel. Sometimes it can be a pain, other times it can be super simple, but it doesn't generally, though. I say that you can get it, that does not mean it's going to install things properly on your computer, for one. just want to let you know you can kind of get them there. But again, I think it's just due to the different underlying architectures of each of the distributions and direction that they went. There are some tools that are trying to standardize those things, like Snap. I don't like Snap. Pop! OS tried to, they implemented this, or Ubuntu tried to start to push Snap. People don't really love it. But yeah, it is a good question. You are like, yes, if there could be some type of standardized version of installation, that would be great. But that can be tough to do when each of these distros has different underlying structures. I mean, only a little bit, only just a little bit. First off, the rad culling. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for the 5 tier 5s. I mean, tier 1 subs. Thank you for the support. First off, you're dope. I appreciate you. I appreciate just the entire community. Again, we are one step now closer to the shirts, to the merch. I think it'll be fun. I have a shirt idea, a design idea that I've reached out to someone to make for me, or at least to give me like an example. They haven't gotten back to me yet about it, but I want to see how that is. But I appreciate you, the Rat Cullen. Thank you for subbing yourself. Really do. And thank you for gifting the subs. The community does in fact appreciate it, really do. But one day, I'm just letting you all know, one day I hope that no one has to, period. And again, I appreciate the support. I hope that everyone's doing it out of the kindness of their heart. But that no one has to do any of that, that corporations and companies who need us, who need the engineers, who need us to dive into tech so we can support their giant Herculean efforts to make money and change the world. We want to make them pay. All right, we want to make them pay. Okay, you heard that, Under Armour? We want you to pay. We want you to pay. No one else. And you can pay us with shirts, and you can pay us with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and he can come on and again teach us the ways of The Rock, and we can teach him how to code and all that stuff. You know, we're gonna keep doing all that stuff. But you all are really nice. I really do appreciate you and your time and the kindness that you all exude. But yeah, let's do this. Let's see if we can modify this accordingly. So let's figure out how to install Nginx on Amazon Linux. And if I don't know how to do that, I say, hey, Google, how? Install Nginx Amazon Linux 2. I think we did an Amazon Linux 2 AMI. And again, I only know that it's different. It is very different than so yeah, you can just kind of just has its own little repo. I personally use Amazon's own repo. Oh, look, they give us everything we need right here. And Stack Overflow is really nice. I don't really want to install a new configuration, but I only need this. This is actually all I need, I guess. I wonder if I'm not sure if it starts it up by itself. But this person is asking a bigger question, I think. But it looks like all you got to do to install it is this. I don't know what I bet there's a later version than 1.12. But let's see if this works. Let's see if we can grab this and make it work. Yes, it is in the extras. That is nice. Very nice. And I don't actually think, and I think Nginx does by default. I don't know why I just backspace like this. This really frustrated me. So here's the thing. I wonder why, like I'm in the interface. I'm not a Vim expert at all. I'm certainly not a Vim expert, but I'm getting pretty good with Vim. I'm getting pretty, I'm getting pretty good with Vim. And now whenever I use like VS Code or another text editor, my brain stops working. Like I knew I could highlight like this and delete what I want. It would have been a lot faster. But my brain kind of is in this weird middle ground state where it's like, come on, man, you gotta get yourself together. But now we have some user data here. Now, if we went back into that page that talked about the different properties that you can have inside of Cloudformation for specifically the EC2 resource, it's probably going to let you know that something like user data requires a this is going to require a restart. Not a restart. It's going to require, what just happened here actually. It's going to require a replacement. It's going to require it to tear down what it has and to deploy something else. So you copy pasta the user data. Yeah, I mean, I copy pasted the user data from first. I copy and pasted the user data from what they were talking about in the Medium article that we were running through. The problem is that the image ID. So if you chose Jets Machine, I think you chose the AMI ID for Ubuntu, or oh no, never mind. They use Amazon Linux. Oh, this is for Apache though. No, you know what? Let's actually copy and paste it. You know what? Let's do it. They did choose Amazon Linux. So I guess this will probably work. The reason why I didn't think it was going to work is because I thought they chose Ubuntu, and we chose Amazon Linux. But if you chose Amazon Linux, this should work. So actually, let's take what they have. Say exactly what they have, just so again we can see if this is going to be good for people in the future to kind of run. Let's take it. Let's save it. And the way that you deploy it is simply to redeploy it. And what it'll do is, again, it will check for the things that change. It will check for that delta between what is currently deployed and what needs to be, what was currently deployed and what needs to change to get the computer state, to get the environment state, the stack state up to what you define. So if I do this again, it says it's going to create this thing called the change set. And again, we're not going to dive into change sets. Change sets are great, and change sets are relatively new, relatively. And you don't actually have to use change sets, but they are really nice. But if we go back in, something like this is going to take a little bit longer. And why is it going to take a little bit longer? Because again, it's going to have to actually tear down and spin back up. So if we actually refresh this, we can see that actually this is stopping. This server that we were looking at, that we already spun up, is in a stopping state because Cloudformation is now doing its thing. And we head over to Cloudformation, and we can see that our update is still in progress, and it'll take a little bit of time. You can go into the events here and you can see exactly what's happening. When things get deleted, they are great. When they, when it's nice. It's not a great interface, but once you get comfortable with it, it's a useful tool. If this is what you're using, so here's when I would use Cloudformation, to be 100% honest with you. One, you need to be, it helps to use Cloudformation if you are fully ingrained in the AWS ecosystem and you don't plan on going anywhere else. Yeah, that's the first piece. Two, you are a relatively rapid adopter of newer things that Amazon offers. And again, that's because it's Amazon's product. Generally, this is not always true. Generally, Cloudformation will get support for their newest services first, before it gets out to something like Terraform, even though the Terraform community is huge now, and people do provide updates to those very quickly. Yeah, I mean, those are like the only two situations I think it makes sense to use it, but even in those situations, I don't think it's the best option. Again, I do think Terraform is a better option, but sometimes you don't want to add sometimes you don't want to add another tool into the pipeline. So Terraform is another external tool. It's another executable. You got to worry about your Terraform version and things like that. This uses AWS's, the AWS CLI. Oh wow, it's storming very hard outside. Wow, I heard that through my headphones. Okay, but yeah, it's you probably, if you have the choice, if you do have the choice, I would use something else, to be 100% honest. How tedious it is compared to Terraform. It really is a lot more tedious. The code is it's also just harder to like read and to understand. And again, in the simplest form, it's kind of nice, but I'm about to show you all a Cloudformation template that we have that like I use, and they get pretty intense. And so I think this worked, and if this did work, we should see another server up, and it should say, yep, CF test web instance. And so if we go here, if it's spun up a web server properly, we should be able to go here and see it. And obviously not. Why not? Because we did not. One thing that you have to do is, by default, all the ports and things besides SSH are locked down. We need to enable the port for the web, which is port 80 by default. And so let's hop into whatever security group that it created, which is the default one. Which generally I would not modify, but I'm going to do it here. No, it has them open. It does have them open. So because it has these open, what that does tell us is that our user data probably did not work. That is exactly what that tells us, but we didn't give it a key, so we cannot log in, and we can't log in and see anything. So let's do that actually. Before we read through what else they gave us here, let's see if we can give it a key. Let's see what they do here real quick. I just want to see what else they do. Copy the IP. Okay, wait, no, actually they got to where we are. Can't be reached. No. Okay, so they add a security group by hand. Actually, that's really nice. Actually, let's do that. So what they do is they take this, if you scroll down a little bit more in here, they basically say, hey, it doesn't, it should be working. It's not working. Now we are the security group that this does already have. I think we edited earlier in another example, and we have port 80 kind of open to the world for the security group, and so it does not work. But again, that is because I think our user data is not proper, but we can't really log in and see. So we're gonna do two things here. We're gonna do what they said, and we're gonna create a new security group, a brand new security group using this. So we're gonna create one resource, which is the EC2 instance, and then we're gonna create another, which is the security group. And so I could put it after, but they put it before. Don't really know why, but we'll paste this in, and I'll separate it a little bit, and hopefully you start to see the way that these blocks are starting to get set up. So we have an EC2 security group. This can be whatever we want to name it. This name only applies to really only applies to CloudFormation, the same way our EC2 instance does. So I could say our EC2 security group, whatever. But the resource type that it is this one was an EC2 instance, but this one up here is an EC2 security group. So it's a whole different type of resource as far as AWS is concerned. Then that also has some properties. So most of the resources have a similar breakdown of the things that are in them. So like defining resources themselves, I find to be relatively, people kind of get up to speed with that relatively quickly. It's like knowing all the properties and stuff. And again, this is a problem with Terraform as well, but I just think it's so much easier to kind of see and understand in Terraform, especially when the files begin to get larger and larger. And so it has some properties here. It has a description, security group ingress. It says, hey, from port 80 to port 80, I'm going to allow everything. And so that's the security group that we're going to have here. And that security group is going to have a name. I do not believe deploying a security group is going to have any real effect. Security groups, not real effect, but security groups can in fact be attached to instances or changed on instances while they're running. So it can be done in place. So this shouldn't cause the environment to go down or anything like that. The security group should be created and then it should be attached. But we may want to switch this up a bit because this is not working. Let's see. Amazon Linux 2 we'll do Apache because we've never done it. HTTPD user data, I'm gonna copy it. Oh, you can do a whole lamb stack. I wonder if they give it to you right here. No, they just, okay, right over this. I don't even need user data. Install Amazon Linux 2, install Apache 2. I haven't used Amazon Linux in so long. I haven't used any Yum based thing in such a long time, but still fine. I just want to see. This is not what I want. I just want someone to give me some commands. It probably is pretty close to what we have now, but I just know the EC2. That's weird. Okay, let's look at our user data real quick. I wonder if it even ran. Oh, maybe it's because it's trying to do 2.4. Maybe we just try to do 2 now. Because I made some changes to the user data, it will restart everything. And you know what? Let's also give it a key. Let's give it a key pair so that we can log in and we can see what's going on. And the way that we would do that is, again, we would go to, I'll type in Cloudformation EC2, and it would take me to some docs here. And I don't really know exactly what to look for, but I probably want something like key name. I could check and see if this is what I want. The name of the key pair, you can create a key pair if you want. So you can actually use this to actually create a key pair or upload a key pair that you have already created. Excuse me. So I'm going to use the key name property and I'm going to create one. Not create one. I'm going to use the key name property so that I can use one of the ones that we have to log in. So I'm going to say key name. And I think I spelled it wrong. So I think it was what, furs instance or something like that. And let's find out exactly what it was. Ooh, you know what's funny? Not funny. I do not have one. I may not have one on here. I forgot that was the VM. Let's find out real quick. What do I have on here? Whoa. Why is all this stuff in here? Stack, SSH test, cloud. Okay, let me see if any of these are actually in this environment. I'm not really sure. Don't remember. Let me do a little checksies real quick to see what we do have in this one. Volumes, security groups, key pairs. I have SSH test right here, so I can use SSH test. So let's do that. And 096. Okay. What else do I have in here that I could use? Okay, I will use SSH test. And so I believe I do not need to give it, I need to just give it the name like this. And I'll save this. And so now we've added a whole lot more things. We've added a whole security group. And I'm gonna leave the user data the same. This had 2.4. I'll leave that there so we can see what happened in there. And I will just add the key. Actually, nope, we're gonna remove this because it's gonna need to restart it anyway to give it the key. So we'll run this again. And invalid template path. Oh, I'm in a different place, darn it. /horizons. No. If we go back one, mastermind, horizons. What? Streams? Nope, that's not right. Where did I put this? Is it in documents? Let's see. I don't know where I am on the computer. Let's go into mastermind. And in here, there should be a horizons. Yeah. Well, I don't know why I didn't autocomplete. It's not auto-completing. Why is it not? Oh, it's capital. Okay, got it. Thank you. Learn Cloudformation. And what was that command? Deploy. There we go. Invalid. Oh, now I need to go back one. All right, sorry about that. That was me not paying attention to what I was doing and getting into a place where I was struggling. Let's see. So it's gonna go through again, and it's going to again. I changed the key, and I changed the user data. So it's gonna actually have to tear that down again, and it's gonna spin it back up for me. But again, it's not nothing crazy there. We've done this a few times now, but you can start to see how infrastructure as code kind of works. Now, on top of this, because of this, we definitely haven't gone over anything like this, but what you can do, because this is code, is you can manage your infrastructure. You can deal with your servers and things the same exact way that you deal with your application code. So the way that it moves through a pipeline, the way that you approve whether or not things are good or bad, all of it can be managed in the exact same way. And that really, like, honestly, it's a big game changer for the way that you can operate and ease of use. Like, everything that your source of truth can all be managed inside of something like GitHub. And it makes it really easy to do some cool things and to automate some things. And it is a really, I can, as someone who knows systems pretty well, for a single system to set it up, I can do it faster by hand. I could do a single system if I needed to, get it spun up and install services on it and get configuration in the right place and stuff. I can do that pretty quickly for one instance. As soon as you go away from one instance, or as soon as you go from one instance one time to other instances, more than one instance, or an instance that you're gonna have to keep spinning up often and destroying and things like that, automating like this really does pay extreme dividends. And it's really nice. Again, the initial setup may take a little bit longer, and finding out all the little things you need to configure, but you do it once and you can use it over and over again. What it also allows is for things like we haven't talked, I don't think we talked about immutable infrastructure here yet, but it also allows us to manage our servers in a way, and this is a little bit more of like a DevOps concept as well, but the cloud allows you to kind of manage your servers and your infrastructure a little bit more like real commodities rather than pets. So like if you purchase servers and you have a certain amount of systems and stuff, you treat them like pets. If a server starts to break, you go in and you fix it, and you replace hard drives, you make sure services are running, you restart things, you take care of those servers when you own them, when they're yours. But in the cloud, again, you can treat them like cattle. And again, when a server is sick, when a system needs to be updated, you get rid of the old one. I know it sounds crazy, but you get rid of the old one, you spin up a new one and get rid of the old one. And this really allows for that, for you to do that easily. What's up, Ash Compute? Hello, what's up, G4 Bray? Welcome, Burelty. Hello, welcome, Bazvadi Wallenberg. How you doing, Bolt Thrower? How you doing? How is everyone doing? We're just messing around now. I'm hoping that you're starting to see how Cloudformation and infrastructure as code works. We can mess around with it all day and spin up as much infrastructure as we want. But now this one is spun up. And check out here, it has a key pair name now, so we can actually get logged in to this server. But first, let's see if it works. Let's see if that user data changed anything. And it does work. So this time it worked. Pulling the 24 off worked. So we do have an Apache test page. You all can actually go to this link right here if you want. And this is an Apache test page, and we can log in and put a site here or something if we want. Whose job is it to do this usually? So yes, usually the systems engineer, the DevOps engineer is who does this, is who generally whose responsibility it is to configure the infrastructure accordingly. Yes, usually DevOps, or some companies have cloud engineers, which is generally like your cloud sysadmin. But yeah, the DevOps engineer or the cloud engineer is usually responsible for doing these things. And this really is what I do. This is what I like. This is a lot of what I do daily, is to set up the infrastructure of that supports the applications using some type of automation. I'm not always just writing Cloudformation, but yeah, I'm writing a lot. But I'm not gonna show you all of I'm not gonna show you all of my. I'm not gonna show you the whole repo, but I do want you to see kind of what a Cloudformation template might look like. Actually, let's see. I never remember which one has what I need in it. Yeah, it is that one. Site isn't working for me. Oh, sorry. It's not working because it automatically is appending an HTTPS. 1 second. What you need to do is you need to let me give you another link that doesn't have HTTPS in it. So when you paste that in the browser, it's probably appending because it doesn't have anything in front of it. So HTTP / there we go. Oh yeah, you got it. There we go. You got that before I did. And so it does work. And that might have been a problem before. I don't think so. But what was I just? I forgot just that fast what I was just talking about. Your boy has bad memory. Well. Oh, I want to show you. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to show you some Cloudformation, some like production grade Cloudformation. Not a lot of it. I just want to show you one, just like one file of Cloudformation, and it can get broken down in a number of ways. And maybe just something like, since this is open, since the application this runs on is open source, this is probably the safest one to show. But but you start to see how there's a lot of stuff. And again, you know, I'm not lying to you. I'm a contributor of this project. I do contribute to this every day though. But like, there are a lot of things in here, and look how, like, you know, you get these refs, you get all kinds of stuff, and it gets large and it gets unwieldy, and it gets a little difficult to follow and to understand what is kind of going on. But again, really what's happening here is the same thing that we have here. Look, it's a bunch of properties, what it is, like the type that it is. I mean, it's a bunch of resources, sorry, a bunch of resources, what type of resource it is, and then some properties associated with it. So like, when you start to break it down like that, it kind of gets a little bit easier. All these things, they are, you'll give it a name that Cloudformation can use, you tell what type of resource it is, and you configure the properties for that resource, and you move on to the next one. And so it's a list of these things. I think we talked about outputs just a little bit, but this may be something that if you want to, you know, if you want to do any type of cloud automation, this is usually what they're talking about, something like this. Now, Terraform works a lot better. Not like works a lot better. Terraform looks a lot better. So check this out. We do have a little bit of Terraform code in here. I'll share just a little bit of Terraform code because we do use Terraform for some things on the project. We just started out the project using Cloudformation before Terraform was kind of in the state that it's in now. It's actually a really good product now. And you know, adoption before, you know, you got to be wary of kind of some of those things before. Looks a little let's go with something like this. And again, it's still not great, but that's only a little bit of things, but it's a little bit easier to read, especially if you've already have some programming knowledge. It like, actually, this looks pretty complicated. Actually, the reason this looks complicated, you want to know why this looks complicated? Because, oh no, well, because this is just JSON. This is actually policies. This is actually like those JSON policies you see in IAM. That's why it looks complicated. This is not Terraform. Everything below this is not Terraform. But this is Terraform up here. This is Terraform, and this is Terraform, and you know, it's different. But Terraform, like I said, I think Terraform's a little bit easier to read. A little bit easier to read, a little bit easier to understand. Validator, thank you for that. I'm glad that my voice can be therapeutic for you during this time. Hopefully the music is helping as well. Sometimes my voice is a little too therapeutic for myself, and it starts to put me to sleep. But I'm glad you're finding some joy in listening to me speak. But yeah, I just want to show you a little bit of that. But besides that, we were able to quickly, that was pretty easy. We were able to spin this up with the associated what's it called, with the associated security group here as well, which is really nice. But again, now you can also imagine all the things that we've clicked through, all the things that, you know, we've set up on here so far. You can imagine that, like, setting that stuff up via code, you know, is probably kind of cumbersome. Again, like if I wanted to set up an S3 bucket with all the properties and things necessary to be able to serve static websites, that's probably a number of options that I need to declare in here. And that's true. It is true. But again, you do it once, you have you can reuse that code later. So like having this code here, I'll push this code up for you, but you can take this code and like now you have you have the framework for a web server to just use. The only thing that you probably have to manage is the image ID, and you can use this to spin things up and to tear things down. I can retract this. I can actually retract this. I think that's the command. Let's see. I think it's retract. I don't know if that's our tool or let's see. AWS Cloudformation. I did not mean to tab complete that. Cloudformation help, and I see the retract or delete. I'm pretty sure it's retract. To remove some stuff. It is not retract. Let's see. Describe the tech stack drift, delete stack. Okay, I wonder if delete stack also, is there a retract stack? Yeah, that must just be the tool that we use. Yeah, so let's try deleting the stack really quick, and let's see if it destroys everything. So delete stack, I'm assuming I have to give it a name. I don't think I have to give it a file, but we can check. How can we check? I can do delete dash stack, and I can give it a little bit of help right here. And I can't spell, so stack name is what I'll give it, and retain resources. So it sounds like I can retain the resources if I want, and so I will go through and delete stack and dash dash stack dash name, and my stack name was R stack, and interesting. Let me look and see if that did anything. I don't know if it did. Oh, it must be doing something. It's interesting it didn't give me any feedback, but it's not reloading. And again, we can always just go into Cloudformation and check. But now that I retracted it, again, I can use the template again to spin it right back up and delete in progress. That's weird, it didn't give us any output. This is another reason why you know, Cloudformation isn't quite as good. I also noticed some other little caveats. And so I like to highlight these things because one, as you're, you know, going through your career, as you're interviewing, these might be things that someone may ask you, like, hey, you know, or some things you can start to highlight is like, hey, I like, you know, the reason I like, I haven't used either one extensively, but what I have seen is that, you know, Terraform, when you're about to make an update, when you're about to perform an action, it tells you before it does anything, it tells you exactly what's going to change, which is really nice. Remember how it does that Terraform plan first and tells you exactly what's going to change, what's going to be deleted, what's going to be updated, what's going to be created. It's really nice. Cloudformation does not do that. And when you run the command, it doesn't even ask you, are you sure? I ran delete stack and I hit enter. It told me nothing and it deleted my stack, which, you know, I did want it to do that luckily, but you can see how that might be a little bit more dangerous. And so, yeah, so not quite as complete of a tool as Cloudformation. The last thing, so that's just, you know, high level tonight what Cloudformation is. We got to see what a little bit of Cloudformation code look like. Let me push this to GitHub and give you a link in case you want to copy this, in case you want to play with it yourself. Again, this is going to be something that you have to change. I also just want to let you know that there are ways to use like variables and stuff in here as well. So like we could you know, set this up to where, you know, you put the variable in a different place and this references that variable from somewhere else. You can pull it from different places inside of AWS. So there are some really cool things you can do with this, but again, really it's just a whole lot. It's a whole thing, which is interesting. But real quick, we talked about Pulumi a little bit earlier, but Amazon, AWS, CDK, they have a new, relatively new thing called the AWS CDK, and I think it actually came out a while ago, but they didn't really put a lot of energy into it. But they've put energy into it recently, more energy than Cloudformation. I think that their goal is to move people towards something like this, is moving towards something like the Cloud Development Kit. And this is much more like Pulumi. And what it does is it allows you to, it's an open source software development framework tool to model and provision cloud application resources using familiar programming languages. So this is still the notion of infrastructure as code. This is still using code to automate infrastructure and to be able to provision cloud resources, but you do it using code, using, you know, JavaScript or Go, or what's up, Red Wolf? God is real, prove me wrong. Sure. Someone either prove him wrong or prove him right. It doesn't really matter to me. You know, we like a little bit of a rowdy chat every now and then, you know. Good timing. We're also finishing up, so I don't think we have time to have that conversation. But the Cloud Development Kit is pretty cool. Like I said, it's pretty new. And so I would check it out. I would look into it. I would just be familiar with what it is. And again, you have some of these options to do things with C#, Java, Python. And it's a way, again, to provision these resources. And it starts to look a little bit weird. If you kind of look through some of the examples, and then you can use things like CDK deploy your stack once you get that set up. And that looks a lot like what you see with Terraform. So again, it is Amazon's, to me, the way that I feel is this is Amazon's way of trying to battle against Terraform. I don't really think Terraform's a true competitor to them. I don't think they mind that people are using Terraform to spin up their resources at all. But as the cloud provider that they are, having a way for people to kind of stay as much inside of AWS as possible is really a goal for them, because if people understand that Terraform can be eventually used to do whatever, like to move to something else, then people might. And so also one of the things that people will talk about Terraform that I want people to understand right now is that people say that Terraform is multi-cloud. That is not true. People have made it seem like you can write, hey, I want an instance that has this set up and you can just go deploy it to anything. No, that's not true. It's just the structure of Terraform you can use, and you download a new provider, and the way that Azure does something is way different than Amazon. So it'll have different properties, it'll have different paradigms, and so you'll still have to go and learn what those things are and reference things for that. I'm trying not to curse on the channel, but we should use it for everything and anything. 100%. I've seen some funny things done with it, actually, but it is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Can you use Bash for CDK? That would be cool. That would actually be really cool if you could use Bash for CDK. You probably cannot. Let's see. AWS CDK languages. And I think it was just the ones that we had, or just the okay, choose your programming language. So it lets you use one of these. So Ruby, Python, PHP, .NET, JS, Java, Go, C++. I'm cool with all these. I'm cool with every single one of these except for PHP. Honestly, I mean, it's honestly, there's actually nothing wrong with PHP. The reason why I feel so strong about PHP is because I've managed a lot of WordPress and Drupal servers. I don't have a problem with PHP. I have a problem with PHP with CMSs built in PHP, relational database backed CMSs, which is yeah. That's cool. I actually, you know what? Part of my 100 days of code will be to spin up the infrastructure that I'm using for this thing that I'm building during 100 days of code. I might dive into the CDK and build it with Go. The problem is, I feel like Python or JavaScript might be really good for this, but I feel like doing this in Go would be odd. But hey, we'll try it out. I feel like it might be odd, but I've also used the Go SDK, so maybe if it's very much SDK like, because it's the Cloud Developer Kit is going to be a software development kit, but we'll see. We'll check it out. All good. I will check this out during 100 days of code. But that's really it for tonight. The tangible takeaways really are from the whole week. Tangible takeaways are, hey, I want you to understand what infrastructure as code is. That's not going to be on the exam, but it is an important piece of learning the cloud, understanding how you can do things. It is being able to define the state of a computer, the way that you want, what resources you want, and how you want them to be in a machine readable file, and using that file to actually deploy and provision your resources. It is great for a number of reasons. Again, instant documentation. Someone can go through and read exactly what resources you have in your environment. It's the consistent reliable deployments, repeatable deployments that you can use using these files. It also allows, reduces the human error speed as well. You can deploy things much faster than you could alone, which is really, really nice. So it's and you can manage it just like you manage your code, which is great. We learned about some of the tools that exist in here. We learned about infrastructure provisioning, and we learned about things like Terraform, which will allow you to do that, which is again the one that I'll put the gold star by, which I recommend to go learn. But that is not an AWS product. We are learning about AWS, and AWS's offering for this is Cloudformation, and we learned that is written, the way that you write that is with YAML or JSON is your choice. It reads either one, so feel free to write it however you want, but YAML is generally what people are going to write it in. We learned a little bit about YAML versus JSON. Within the JSON is kind of the it's JavaScript object notation. It is a way to present data, a structure for data, and it's really a set of keys and values, as is YAML, because YAML is a markup language that is really a superset of JSON, and that's why they kind of work back and forth. You can use either one of them. We learned that we can write some code. We learned that we can deploy it, and we can update infrastructure as well, using these things. And we got to see the differences a little bit. We got to see kind of the ease of use of one versus the difficulties of the other. Maybe the syntax isn't that different, but again, some of those creature comforts, like seeing what's going to be updated first in Terraform, is kind of nice, as opposed to Cloudformation, which kind of just does what it does. But again, you don't need an extra tool for Cloudformation. Cloudformation is something that's available for you right out of the box inside of AWS if you want to stay there. Let's get in there. Toml's great. I mean, yeah, Toml's completely fine. I mean, I don't really know. I've never run into a situation where I needed the benefits of Toml. But yeah, Toml's sure. They use Toml in I do a lot of stuff with Hugo, and they use Toml for markup there. And then besides that, we just learned about the CDK. So the CDK, we didn't dive into the CDK. We didn't build anything with the CDK. One, because it would have been even more confusing than this. But two, because I'm pretty sure they aren't asking anything about the CDK on any of the exams yet, or at least specifically on any of the associate or the any associate level exams or the certified cloud practitioner. So not a big deal. It's something we will absolutely dive into as we get deeper and deeper into our AWS journey, but not right now. No big deal there, but I want you to know about it. I want you to know that there is this development kit that allows you to write code using popular programming languages to perform this infrastructure as code, to provision the resources that you want. But that's it. That is this is kind of the infrastructure as code week. And I think it was fun doing some labs. I think it was fun kind of spinning up some infrastructure via code. I think that people I don't know. I think it's a really good instant gratification type thing. You can immediately see what you're doing, and you can kind of keep that code around, and you can play with it, and you can try to deploy it and immediately see your updates and things like that. So hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully you enjoyed it a little bit. Feel free to spend as much time as you want diving into that if you think this is something that you want to do in the future. But again, not necessary for people who are learning the cloud for more strategic reasons, for people who want to manage or people who are working who may be working in a cloud environment in a different aspect from actual cloud engineering. Those concepts are pretty the only ones that are really pretty specific for the people who are going to be doing the engineering in the cloud. But what do we have coming up next week? So we're, this is the end of week 6, I believe, 6 or 7. I can't add. If we're finished up, what number is this? 12. So at the end of week 6, or yeah, tonight's 12. So 2 more weeks. And then we'll be diving into DNS and Route 53. That's going to be an interesting topic. Learning about DNS is, if you're new to DNS, the initial topic is going to be pretty easy, but we're actually going to dig into DNS a fair amount. DNS can get pretty complicated. DNS is notoriously a problem causer. Route 53 is a service that does DNS inside of the cloud. So we'll do that. And then we'll get into the stuff that gives us a little more insight, a little more observability, CloudWatch, systems manager, and billing. We'll have a little bit of fun with that. We will actually, the thing that we were trying to do in one of the early things where we're trying to use systems manager to log into our instance, we will do that here instead, because I finally figured out the permissions properly. But like we'll get in there and talk about how you can manage and get information about the systems and see what's going on and really understand what's going on in your AWS account. So that'll be next week, and then we'll hop into some cloud security, and then we will hear from some engineers. And I need to message and see if he's still available. I had someone from AWS. I had at least one person. There will be a couple of engineers on this panel on the last day, and one of them is an engineer from AWS, which is even cooler. I never had an engineer from AWS, but people who work with the cloud every day, for you to ask whatever questions you want to ask. I'll have questions in case people don't want to ask them, but that time will be for us to ask, for you to ask whatever questions you want to ask, and we will have them for each of the boot camps, so you can come through whichever one you want. Will there be a break of some sorts? Yes, there will be a short break between intermediate and between the next run of boot camps. Not sure how long yet, only because like I said before, I'm working on some pretty intense things in the way that the boot camps are run, but those boot camps are still going to go off probably a couple of weeks, probably 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month. We'll see. But I am streaming in the middle of those. I know I said that last time. I am streaming in between those. We're gonna be utilizing the things that we did. We're gonna be building things in the interim. There'll be some one-off topics and stuff in there. People have been interested in a lot of Docker and Kubernetes things, but we'll be like building some things together during those times, instead of just teaching. So yeah, there'll be some learning going on there, but again, we'll be focused on a task. So yeah, so there'll always be something, but again, you can also, I understand how going through 8 weeks of something is, you need to take a break. That's why we'll always have a little bit of a break in between to give people opportunity to jump out and jump back in. You can't always be heads down learning this stuff. But also it'll be a fun time for us to make some real things that not only that we can use on this channel, but that I think we can do some cool stuff with, to also give you all a way to start contributing to things as well. Like a lot of the projects that I have in mind are going to be ways for people in Decoded, people here, to start to if you're starting to look for a job and you want to get some things on your resume, these are things for you to start hopping into and have verifiable things that you've contributed to and that you've looked at, and just have fun building with people. I think it'll be a good time. I really do think there's a way we can make this pretty fun. So that's what we'll be doing. But that's it for tonight. Thank you everyone for coming through. Had a couple of great raids tonight. Thanks everyone who came through with Prime and stayed. Really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for all of the gifted subs this entire week, to be honest. I really do appreciate the support. Again, I promise you, I'm gonna give you updates really soon about kind of the future of kind of how we're gonna be doing things, and how often we're gonna be doing things, and like what kind of the goals are. Right now, I do have a full-time job. I'm a technical lead in a software company, but I'm also going through an incubator in that company, and part of the things that I have to do this year is to go full-time in my business. And so what that will do is that will give me a lot more time to focus on the things that we're doing here, and that will happen this year. I'll give you guys an exact date relatively soon, but so until then, I'm doing a lot to prepare for that, which has actually made me busier and getting prepared for that exact time. But then when that happens, I'll have tons of extra time to properly do things on this channel the way that I want to do these things, as well as other aspects of the business. But yeah, again, much more information. Am I hiring personally? I'm not personally hiring yet, but Fearless is hiring. The place that I work is hiring. And also, if anyone would like to take my place, or know anyone who wants to take my place, they'll probably be looking for a replacement for me. But Fearless is in fact hiring, and it's an amazing place to work if you want to work for a dope software company doing some amazing things in the government space. And I'm not exaggerating when I say amazing things, and I'm not exaggerating when I say the dopest company. Let me know. Seriously, reach out. reach out, let me know. A couple of you have. I have to get back to a couple of you. If anyone sent me resumes specifically for Fearless, even if I didn't give you an official response, I put your resume in already, and so you should have heard something. Whether it's a yes or no, they usually give you some information back pretty quick. Ryder, please, if you could do the S3 bucket. Yes, I will do the S3 bucket tonight. I'm trying to think of the best way to get the link to you. I will put it, here's what I'll do. I will set up a page at videos.mastermind.io, videos.mastermind.io, because this is an easy thing to do. I will proxy these things here, and you can grab them from videos.mastermind.io. And follow me on Twitter. My Twitter is mastermind.io, and I'll tweet out when I'll just be like, oh, they're live, and I'll tweet out the link as well. It won't look pretty, but it'll give you a place to download them. I'll at least be able to get the last couple of videos up there. My upload speeds aren't amazing, but they'll get up there pretty simply. You want to take my place, but your powers are low? Hey, my powers are also, nah, I'm joking. Hey, I mean, you never know. I thought when I took the position, I thought my powers were low, to be honest. But you know, when you make yourself uncomfortable, you'd be surprised at how much you know and how much you can do and what you can kind of make of a situation. So you know, but also if you just want to come work at a great company, again, it's a pretty dope company. Also, actually, I also want to share this real quick, the DevOps 95 thing. I'm doing a talk tomorrow on DevOps 95. It's a one day kind of conference talk, conference series thing for since DevOps Days is not a thing this year anywhere. So they're going up and down 95, not really going up and down 95, but basically, you know, starting from, you know, I guess the DC area, Columbia, then Baltimore, then they're going up from here in New Jersey, and different people from different places, you know, up to Connecticut, New York, Connecticut, are going to give talks. Mine is at 2 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. We're going to be talking about DevOps powered civic tech. So yeah, I think it'll be a pretty fun talk. Only it's not a 2-hour talk. I'll probably be a 30-minute talk with some questions afterwards. If you ain't doing anything, I'll send you this link. They're gonna post it on YouTube. If you want to participate, there's a big Slack. I mean, not Slack, there's a big Zoom, but it'll also be streamed on YouTube as well. But if anyone's interested, I gotta finish the last finishing touches on my talk tonight. But let's see who we are gonna raid tonight. Let's check it out. We are gonna head over to Vape Juice. You're right there in my face. Let's go over and say hi to Mr. VJJ, Mr. Vape Juice Jordan. He actually, I don't know if they still work together, but he works at Netflix as well. Pretty dope, pretty fun stream. I think we've been over there before, but appreciate that. Thank you so much. Good night, Sean. Thank you so much, Jess Machine. I thank you for the good luck, the good vibes as well. Went over to Vape Juice Jordan and say hello and learn a little bit. He does some great stuff with JavaScript, with TypeScript. Yeah, pretty cool channel. Vape Juice. You too can be part of the Vape Nation. I think that's Vape Nation. I think that's what he calls it. He doesn't actually vape on stream, which I don't know if he vapes at all. I feel like it would be on brand if he did vape, even though I do not, I don't encourage vaping, but like if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna call yourself Vape Juice Jordan, you gotta always be on brand. But I'll keep everyone up to speed about the merch as well, because I was looking at some things last night as well. But thank you all so much for the support. And Horizons, I'll see you next week. Decoded, I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out.